flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Justin had a huge impact on this game. It just didn't show up in the stat sheet, but that's not good enough. That's not good enough. I've got to do a better job giving Justin, different, aspects of lining up in different spots, different personnel groupings, whatever I need to do to help him because he's an ultra competitor, and we'll get him going. But, the first guy celebrating with KJ Osborne when he scores that touchdown is Justin Jefferson, and he's a great teammate. Although he doesn't have a C on his chest, I know our guys view him as one of our leaders, and we relied on him today.
Oh, I can see a Zolgad column on Vikings Wire, USA Today. Zolgad.
Yep, it's out.
Teammates don't think highly enough of Justin Jefferson to make him a captain.
Mm-hmm. Well, it is weird. They got a lot of captains, and I don't know. I don't know what happened there.
Oh,
Got to look
not
into it.
Not a great leader.
Got to look into it.
On the and we'll get to statements here on this Vikings Victory Monday across both Mackey and Judd and Purple Daily. You can find Vikings Vent Line if you missed it. It was not quite the celebration of week one because I think a lot of people lined up to tee off on the Vikings and then they won the game at the end. So it was probably more criticism of the Vikings. People just frustrated by what they watched for the majority of the game. But you can find that on the Purple Daily podcast feed and YouTube channel. So I am on the Jefferson front. My first thought was, come on, Kevin. You can't say that Jefferson made a huge impact on the game. He pretty much was non-existent, right? There are some screenshots, some great ones here from the All-22. This one's from Alec Lewis, the new Athletic Vikings beat writer.
He's very good, by the way.
I don't know if he's athletic, but he works for the Athletic, and he's a beat writer.
He's in really good shape. He's
okay.
He's Declan-like size-wise.
Okay.
Well, I wouldn't call myself in good shape, but yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, he's thin. You're thin.
Okay.
You don't look like you're out of shape. I would never say, Declan Goff, lose some weight. You don't look good.
Okay. So Alec, that guy, he posted a screenshot here, the second to last play. So KJ Osborne had two huge catches back-to-back to win the game. And the concept here was Jefferson was on the left side of the line of scrimmage. I believe he was the outside receiver. And then KJ Osborne started off on the right side of the formation. So Osborne has one defender trailing him as he reaches sort of the logo. He's running across the Vikings logo. And then Justin Jefferson is running probably 3 yards on top of him further down the field, running a crossing pattern over the top. And there are two Lions defenders. One of them's literally grabbing Justin Jefferson 15 yards from the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
The other one is 2 yards behind him, trailing him. And then there's a safety over the top, shoulders turned toward Justin Jefferson. 3 defenders were on Justin Jefferson the second to last play of the game, and KJ Osborne just went right past all of them, wide open to set up what eventually became the game-winning. So you can have an impact on a game by just existing, and Justin Jefferson did that yesterday. But we'll probably get. I'm guessing one of us has a Justin Jefferson statement. Okay.
Oh, there's plenty to get to it, Jefferson.
But can I start you guys here with a little Kirky boy statement here? A little Kirky.
Absolutely.
Kirkison? Okay. Here's the first statement. Kirk Cousins is unstoppable in noon games against the Lions. These are his Super Bowls historically.
Oh my God! You know what's going to happen now. You know what this is going to result in. I know, but you're going to get the Mackey says that he can only beat the Lions. You know that's what the response is going to be.
No, I'm not saying he can only beat the Lions. I'm saying he is unstoppable in noon games against the Lions. If there are some Kirk Crusaders out there that want to project their emotions and their insecurities back onto me, then that's fine. You can do that. This was Kirk's 9th noon game against the Lions since he joined the Vikings. If you take his numbers and extrapolate them over 17 games, so take his 9 games he's played as a Viking noon against the Lions and make it a 17-game season, 75% completions, which I think would be an NFL record, 37 touchdowns, 4 interceptions only, and a 120 passer rating, which I think would flirt with the highest. Like Pat Mahomes, I think, was like a 122 one season or something.
Yep.
And multiple fourth quarter comebacks. And so if you want sheer dominance, and he wasn't even that great for the first part of that game, but he comes back, boom, dagger, KJ Osborne. Good luck finding a more unstoppable force at quarterback than Kirk in noon games against the Lions.
I would guess that this was perhaps as a Viking, one of his worst statistical games, like just raw stats, against Detroit. So, again, I'll take the win. Don't care. But, it is amazing because he did set up the drive last year in October at the same stadium against Detroit for the Greg Joseph field goal that then was followed by what I guess was a near fight between the coach and quarterback. Well, that's not good. But, he rebounded very nicely. I saw Dex put the stats on our Twitter account, his fourth quarter yesterday. It was rather remarkable.
Well, off the top of your head, what were his fourth quarter stats? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was like 9 of 13, a buck 20, a touchdown, a 120 rating. He was excellent. And obviously the fourth quarter comeback. So yes, he was very, very good in the fourth quarter.
You know, my wife and I were watching football with a friend yesterday, watching 2 days ago, watching the Gophers game, who's not from like Minnesota or anything, but was talking about her fantasy team and saying that I think she has Kirk Cousins and then somebody else, like two of those quarterbacks you would just kind of rotate back and forth. And she said, yeah, I played Kirk in that Philadelphia game, and God, he just killed me in that game. And I said, I need to be your Kirk Cousins fantasy consultant, because what I would have told you and advised you is don't play him on Monday night road game Eagles.
Yep.
That's likely to be a disaster. Wait one more week for the bounce back noon game at home against the Lions. And he didn't have a great fantasy day, but he's a couple touchdowns. The yardage wound up being pretty high.
He's fine.
So just if you are rotating quarterbacks in your fantasy league, road games, tough opponents, prime time, fade it. Noon Lions, noon Giants home, noon Jets home. You're good to go. I think most people know that.
Fantasy football league advisor.
To be a captain position.
Charger. Be $15.
That'll be
for every consultation.
You can Venmo me,
or just make it 20.
Just Venmo me. All right, Judd, statement.
All right, so my statement is this, and I'm going to project ahead. And I know that this guy had a good game on Sunday, and I know that this guy ultimately is an important part of this team. But I am not going to be upset if Dalvin Cook does not play after, again, dislocating his shoulder on Sunday. Next Sunday against the Saints in London. I think that there's enough different things that this team can do, and I believe that the running back depth is sufficient enough that I would not mind a look-see that would allow Cook probably just to stay home and recover, as opposed to being in the time period, and this did exist at one point, where it's like, oh my God, can Cook come back in this game? He'll wear a harness. It's all, he's got to play. I'd be very comfortable with resting him for a week to make sure he's recovered, and I'm not so sure that your offense wouldn't be just fine.
You also have the weird non-bye week afterwards. Like usually you go to London, you get a bye week, and they have to go to London, then come back and play, and they get it's a game against the Bears, but maybe saving Dalvin Cook and not having him play banged up, just keep him a little fresher for that Bears game when the rest of the team isn't going to be that fresh.
That's another good point. I didn't think of it that way.
It's not like the Saints aren't some juggernaut. You're going to get like 3 interceptions off Jameis Winston at some point. So I'm kind of with you on this one. If we're talking about, he's going to rush back and wear a harness, it's like,
Just rest. Rest it up, buddy.
Yeah. I don't know.
Take a load off. I'll rip off the Justin Jefferson Band-Aid statement here, and I'll say something seems off with Justin Jefferson. So he's had some drops. He's clearly frustrated. He was frustrated against the Eagles. He was frustrated, obviously, yesterday against the Lions. Now he's being locked up for the first time in his career. I think finally teams are saying, let's take away Justin Jefferson, and can the Vikings still beat us? Now the Vikings are 2-3, and he had a career day against the Packers, but so far opponents are 1-1 in that plan. And I don't think this is like a bad thing, or it's a full-on Zolgad plan for panic of a 10 out of 10 scale. But we just haven't seen the same Justin Jefferson these last 2 weeks. And the offense might need to spread around some wealth, but the offense has to funnel through Justin Jefferson. He's a game-changing wide receiver. And it just feels like we might be on the precipice of another JJ breakout game. Like, I don't see a guy who just stays quiet for 3 straight games. Odds are he'll probably bounce back against the Saints. But just looking at these last two in just the frame of the last 2 games and from the 30,000-foot view, Something just seems off with the Vikings star receiver, and I'm still trying to kind of pinpoint what exactly it is.
So you think there's something deeper here, like a conspiratorial thing that isn't just defenses scheming?
Correct. Yeah, I think just look at, I mean, I know I'd talked about Adam Thielen, throwing the temper tantrums, but like the Jefferson actual body language is frustration. Like he's frustrated at the drops. He's frustrated at probably the targets. He's frustrated that he's not getting the ball maybe in big situations. Yes, I do think there's something kind of bubbling a little bit here.
Well, the good news is, and Kevin O'Connell referenced this in the clip that we played, he was one of the first guys to congratulate KJ Osborne. And then in the locker room, when KOC gave KJ Osborne the game ball, the first guy to walk up to him was Justin Jefferson, all excited. So I don't think it's something pouty where I'm not getting the ball, I'm going to have bad attitude. I would say, and the Fox crew at one point, I think it was Brady Quinn was on the color commentating job, and I wrote this quote down. He said, "The Lions are doubling Justin Jefferson on every play. They just aren't going to let him get the football." And I think what bothers me is we heard that exact thing last year in a Lions game where it was, well, look at that. They're playing safety help over the top on Justin Jefferson on every play. What can the Vikings possibly do? And Kevin O'Connell came in here, and he was supposed to be the schematic elixir to this problem, right? That we aren't going to let defenses dictate who gets the ball. If we want to get the ball to Jefferson on 12 targets, we're going to do that because that's how we roll. And so either KOC isn't doing a good enough job of that, or Justin Jefferson, if he wants to be one of the best receivers in the NFL, if he wants to be the guy at the top of the wide receiver food chain, then you got to find a way to flash open in some of these windows. Like, this isn't going to change. Yep. Or are there times where he is option number 3, but Kirk doesn't want to thread the needle too tight of a window, 50-50 ball, whatever, and so he's moving to other options? Maybe it's a combination of all 3, but it shouldn't be that easy to take Justin Jefferson out of a game. Oh, he's just out of the game.
And the whole purpose
really?
is, yeah. In fact, if I can jump in, I would like to make the next statement off of this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Kevin O'Connell remains a work in progress as a play caller. And I think that's a very important part of the discussion. It is one thing to watch Sean McVay scheme Cooper Kupp open consistently. Sean McVay is one of the most brilliant young minds in football, probably in the world today. Like, you don't get a coaching tree at his age and not be doing something really spectacularly right.
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, in O'Connell's, I guess it's sort of in his defense, but there should be hopefully a pretty quick maturation here. You can look on film at JJ and be like, oh, okay, if I did this and I do that, and we sort of did this with Kupp. But keep in mind, KOC did not call plays there. So, like, he was observing and probably helping behind the scenes, but he was not the guy calling plays. So I think what we are seeing, and this definitely 1,000% involves Jefferson, and I think the first game might have been a little bit unfair because he got off to such a great start, and then your expectations are like, oh, this is going to be a weekly thing. But I think what we're seeing is this. I think O'Connell and Kirk too, are becoming comfortable with what the offense is supposed to do. And like, it was weird through 2 games that Thielen became a non-factor of sorts. Like, he got some garbage time or some catches in the Monday night game, but that was, I believe, in the first half, 0 targets. Mm-hmm. KJ Osborne basically, I think, just got involved in a big way yesterday. So, again, I know this sounds weird coming from me, but I think to make any grand assumptions about it's working or not is just going to take more time. It's going to take more time. I mean, O'Connell's trying to get his play calling, which he's doing in game, which is incredibly tough because he's trying to coach the team too. But he's trying to get his play calling through to Kirk. Kirk is very meticulous about things. And now we're trying to get the ball to Jefferson, and it doesn't help that he's dropped balls, or in the case of the Monday night game, flat out ran the route poorly. Yeah. So my point is that this is a work in progress, and I think it's very hard to assess it 3 games in, and I think it's going to morph and change. I mean, Dalvin Cook in game 2 had 6 carries.
Yeah.
That's not like, I'm all for don't go zim, run, but 6 carries is ridiculous. So I think it's just going to take some time.
Yeah, and I think it makes it easier and gives you a longer runway to kind of work through some of the kinks when you win games. If you start 0-3, or like, what do you think the vibe is around Josh McDaniels and the Vegas Raiders right now? They're 0-3.
Not good. Devontae's already pissed.
Right.
Closed door meeting.
If you were 2-1,
that's what we should have.
And working some things out like the Vikings are.
Yep.
Okay, all right, whatever. Like, this doesn't feel entirely right. There's a bunch of things that we need to figure out, but at the end of the day, we're 2-1, and so we've bought ourselves a couple rough games here and there. If we lose a game, we'll figure it out. We're not sunk at this point like maybe the Raiders are. So, on the other side, on the Adam Thielen side, here's my next statement. Adam Thielen was a forgotten man there for a while, but he remains incredible in the red zone. So he flashed wide open on the Vikings' first touchdown yesterday. He was targeted only once in the red zone leading up to this game. But if you go back now, including yesterday, to the beginning of last season, Adam Thielen, when targeted in the red zone, 14 catches on 16 targets, 10 touchdowns. Think about that.
Yeah.
16 targets in the red zone, 14 catches,
great,
10 touchdowns. The guy is ridiculous in the red zone and should probably be your first, especially because he's so great in the red zone flashing open, but defenses are going to still pay more attention to Justin Jefferson because he's the scarier wide receiver.
Yes.
So just when in doubt, find Adam Thielen, find those hands flashing somewhere in the zone. He also became the fourth undrafted player since 1967 with 50 career touchdown receptions, joining Antonio Gates, Rod Smith, and Wes Welker. So that's quite the accomplishment for an undrafted player. So I know that you guys are all pissed about his temper tantrum, but I want to shine a light on a guy that should not just be forgotten here. Go find him in the red zone, for God's sakes.
We are not pissed. You're painting it inaccurately. We are just
you guys threw a tantrum about his tantrum on Purple Daily today.
We are tired of his tantrums. This is not Edina
I want
High
emotion.
School.
I want
this
fire.
Is not the Lake
I want
South.
passion.
This is, exactly. Not, I'm ripping my helmet off now. Mom and Dad, did you see that? I got screwed on that call by the referee.
No, well, the call would have made a lot of people mad because at the time it ended the game and it was a bad call. But we already litigated this.
Litigated. I love the word litigated. We litigated it.
All right, we're back to Declan here, and this next statement is going to be presented by our friends at Spiral Light Candle. It is Victory Candle Monday here, boys.
That's right. That's right.
Up.
And that means that it's time to check out Judd's Purple Positivity Candle. You know what? The Purple Positivity Candle is great because if things aren't going well, you light that Spiral Light candle, and it calms the nerves, right?
What about the fourth quarter comeback candle?
Well, that's what this is, too, because that's the thing. That's what makes a candle so great. It can calm or it can be cause for celebration, which it was on Sunday. SpiralLightCandles.com. SpiralLightCandles.com. If you're trying to find a gift for a mom, your wife, girlfriend, I'm going to tell you right now, Spiral Light candles are worth checking out. They will love them. It makes a great gift. SpiralLightCandles.com, the place to go.
And hey, if you're into fall golf, like 2/3 of this show is for sure, no better place, Declan. No better place.
The Meadows at Mystic Lake, an award-winning 18-hole public golf course, just a little jaunt down the Twin Cities. You can get down there, maybe go even see the fall colors. The best part about Meadows, it's one of the most scenic courses around. So now we're getting a little closer to fall and that fall golf weather, whether you're rocking the PJ Fleck, quarter zip, maybe you're going the full pullover. I know Macadac Moore is like the quarter zip kind of guy. Maybe he rocks the polo underneath. The tie could be on. I saw him on Saturday celebrating a Gopher win. But regardless, when you're on the tee times there, you want to make sure you're nice and comfortable, and the Meadows at Mystic Lake is one of the best places to be. Book your tee time now. GolfTheMeadows.com. GolfTheMeadows.com to learn more. Okay, my next statement. I need a little more from Danielle Hunter. So through 3 games so far, Danielle Hunter has just 2 pressures, 1 sack. You know, he's supposed to be really the linchpin of this defense, and he's been playing a ton of snaps. He's actually logged 168 snaps through 3 games. And the pass rush was going to be the most important thing for the Vikings because obviously there's still question marks on the cornerback side, the safety side, the linebacker side we're seeing getting exposed a little bit. There's still some bend but don't break qualities. They haven't allowed fourth quarter points. That's all gravy. But they need their defensive line to start getting after the quarterback more, starting with Danielle Hunter. And I know he's only played, 7-8 games basically since the 2019 season, but the dude is still 27 years old. He turns 28 in a month. It is up to him, who has been historically one of the best pass rushers in the NFL from when he debuted through 2019. But so far, it's just been a little lackluster for him, and he really needs to step up, in my opinion, to start getting after the quarterback more and being the force that he was to be reckoned with previously before he has a big injury in 2020. I need a little more from Danielle Hunter.
Dude, 2 pressures through 3 games. Yeah, I'm looking at this on Pro Football Reference right now. The top pressure getters are Alex Highsmith with 10, Shaq Barrett with 10, and Nick Bosa with 10. And then a bunch of other dudes with 9, 8, 7. He should be, he I don't know what it is. I mean, the guy hasn't played much football in the last couple of years, but if they can't, and we mentioned this on Purple Daily, the Vikings have one of the lowest team pressure rates on defense in the NFL too. So if they can't get pressure with Danielle Hunter and Zadarius Smith, and Zadarius has 5, so he's at least been buzzing around a little bit more. Mm-hmm. This defense without Danielle Hunter the last 2 years when he's injured is one of the worst in the NFL. So if he's not going to have an impact, then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. All right, let's go back to Judd here. He jumped out of order. We'll keep that. That same order going. Go ahead.
All right. Statement on the defense as well. My statement is this: start by stopping the run. Pressure's nice and pressure is necessary. But this defense has now given up 100-plus yards in all 3 games. And they consistently get gouged there. And I think you have to be better. And I'm not saying great, but you have to be better against the run consistently. For instance, I believe it was on a 3rd and 12 late in the game yesterday. Detroit got a 10-yard gain, and it was almost 12. Almost a first down on a 3rd and long in which you ran and had the confidence to run because you know you can run. That's a starting point for me. So I really want to see, while the pressure does need to improve, and Dex is right on Hunter, what I want to see is step 1, you have to be more stout against the run. You're making it far too simple. You can't be, what feels like it, at least, statistically giving up 6 to 8 yard chunks. We saw that the last 2 years. I thought it was supposed to be improved. Again, I'm not saying it has to be 2007 good when it was unbelievable, but I am saying that to be a defense that can win tough games, you can't be getting chunked on runs as much as the Vikings are right now.
Yeah, let's do a quick statistical examination of the Vikings defense here real quick. So they are, let's give you a few key metrics. So they are 19th in yards per carry against. They're averaging 4.7 yards per attempt against.
Okay.
The Colts, Niners, Bills are all under 3 yards per attempt against. So those are kind of the gold standard. So they're slightly below average in terms of yards per attempt against. Passing defense, let's include some sack yards in here. So average net yards against, including sack yardage. Jesus, the Bills, 3. The Bills' defense has been absurd, and they lost yesterday, but their defense was actually pretty good. Vikings are 16th, smack dab in the middle of that metric as well. And then if you just want to go total yards per play, so everything included, total yards per play allowed, the Vikings defense ranks 26th by that metric. Mm-hmm. So anywhere between like middle of the pack and 26th, that's probably accurate. And they've in the red zone, I'll pull this up too real quick. Let's do third downs. Vikings defense on third down, 12th best. They're allowing 34% on third down, so respectable. And then red zone percentage, so percentage of red zone trips that result in a touchdown, they rank 20th. 63% of trips. So they're kind of a mid-pack, maybe like top of the bottom third defensively through 3 games. Points allowed, they're actually one of the better defenses. Yeah. But there's a lot of underlying things here that if you don't fix them, you're probably going to give up a 30-burger or multiple at some point, right?
I love that too.
I'll give you one more here from my bag of statements. With everything that's happened and everything we've dissected through the first 3 weeks, my statement is the Vikings are exactly where they're supposed to be after 3 games. 2-1 start. I think everyone would have taken that. They're showing some nice flashes offensively. fourth quarter comeback, first half against Green Bay. There you can kind of see, this offense at its best, you can see what this would look like. But then they're kind of sputtering, trying to hone it. And a defense that generally does enough to give the offense a chance so far, with a ton of room for improvement in the pressure department. So a 2-1 start with some nice flashes and a ton of room for improvement is, I think, where I thought they were going to be after 3 games. Mm-hmm. And now we see if they can actually make that improvement.
Yeah, I think yes. I think the Packers game altered expectations a lot.
Yeah.
I think the Packers game was such a beatdown of Green Bay that fans are like, oh man, this works. It's going to be great. And that game was fun. But the thing about that game is that game's not how games go. But I think because of that, like if you had asked in training camp, 2-1 start, I think every Vikings fan says, absolutely, that's great. But then they saw the Packers game and they're like, oh. And then the Philadelphia game was really bad. Like that started off really bad. And so I think because the angst that I sensed on Ventline yesterday was very interesting. Like, and I know it wasn't a great game, and I know, but you know what? You won the game. And by the way, you didn't win the game on a 60-yard field goal. You won it on Kirk Cousins' arm.
Yeah.
So, like, there was the entire game, not good. The end result? Yeah, okay. Yep. Take that. Yes, the Packers game, I think, changed things.
Yeah,
unfairly.
We might have been a little guilty of that. I think we had the Vikings as like the 4th best team in the NFL in our power rankings.
But dude, this league
the first week.
But look at the scores yesterday.
Yeah,
crazy league.
It's an absolutely nuts league.
Yeah,
bleeping Chargers got blown out of the home by Jacksonville.
Well, that's not entirely shocking to at least one person on the show that told you.
Here we go. Victory laps. Okay.
What has old Macadac told you about the Jaguars?
You know what? We're going to get back. I think Declan's going to have.
You want to go down that? You want to go down that vein? Because I thought the head coaching favorite and the genius that was Brandon Staley is going to have those Chargers looking good. And oh man, look at this. They're 1-2.
I didn't mean to do this. Okay. I didn't mean to start this. I was just starting crazy.
That game may have validated a couple takes on the Mackey and Judd and Purple Daily show. Remember when old Macadac got laughed at, mocked by the masses 2 years ago for putting Joe Burrow 10th in his preseason quarterback rankings? Well, you can't do that.
Yeah, you were laughed at.
And then he got laughed at again this season for putting Trevor Lawrence in his top, I think it was 12. Now, what do you think of Trevor Lawrence now, huh? Maybe quit making fun of old Macadac's
Macadac
foresight.
Victory lap. You know what? Let's get back on course here. I'm going to wave the flag. There it is. I'm waving the flag. We're back on course. Viking statements.
Amazing. Victory Monday here on Mackey and Judd. And you know what? Popular demand has surfaced here, and it has told us to bring back an oldie but a goodie. Not an oldie. A segment from last year on Purple Daily with Boone. We're going to have Declan fire someone's ass every week here on Mackey and Judd.
You just made the list!
So, Declan, who in the world of sports should have their ass on the line today?
So, I was going on the chopping block, late last night to see whose ass should be fired, because there's candidates all over the place. I can look. We just basically teased about it in the AFC West right now, which turned out what I thought was going to be the best division in football to being an absolute gong show through 3 weeks. There's coordinators at play. Surprisingly, all those coaches and coordinators are safe for this week. I am not firing
the whole division.
Whole division, and then also in the entire NFL. I'm actually not going to fire a coach, a coordinator, a player, or an owner today. So yesterday morning, I slept in. First time I had slept in late in months. I woke up at about 10:30. It was glorious. I haven't slept in that late in forever. Vinny was at grandma's, so don't worry about taking the dog out. So it was perfect. Gal and I slept in, got coffee. It was great. Watching television on a great TCL TV. And I turn on the Fox pregame show. And I watch 5 bumbling buffoons try to go their way through a pregame show. And even though it's part of our youth, it's really the only big pregame show I've ever known. It is time to fire the Fox pregame show. It is time to move on from all 5 of these guys. Wow. Terry Bradshaw has no idea what he's talking about. He has Terry Bradshaw's literally like, I think this is he has no idea what he's literally talking about. The fastest 2-minute drill for halftime is a disaster. The whole pregame show, it does nothing. Howie Long has been wearing the same suit for 20 years, dude.
What's happening on Howie Long?
It's time
He's
to
in the
move
same
on.
haircut too, actually.
Yeah, he hasn't looked. He has not
a good-looking
dressed
older man.
differently.
I'm gonna tell you
He
that
has
right
not
now.
looked the same. Not even with all due respect, because I'm firing all of them. There is no respect here. Wow. It's time to move on. Get a new Fox pregame show. Let's try something different. Even if there's hiccups, even if there's people we plug in that don't work, I'm done with the Fox pregame show.
You just made the list.
You're fired.
Oh my God. So I love where you're going here. All right. My options are pretty limited before the game because I can't watch the ESPN pregame show. I love most of the cast on that show. I can't get past the way that Samantha Ponder acted toward people on Christian Ponder Twitter back like 10 years ago. She just went on a blocking rampage of anyone. She had clearly had a search bar open for Christian Ponder tweets and just blocked half of Minnesota when she was here 10 years ago. And that rubbed me the wrong way so much that I just it's hard for me to watch that pregame show. Generally, the Fox NFL Sunday, NFL Network is fun. They do a great job, a lot of fun segments there. But to Dex's point, I'm just pulling up a list here. These guys have been with that show. Kurt Menefee took over for James Brown in 2006.
Yeah.
Terry Bradshaw started in 1994. Howie Long, 1994. Jimmy Johnson, 1994, took a few years off to coach the Dolphins, came back in 2001. And Michael Strahan's now been on that show since 2007. Mm-hmm. So it's been the exact same cast for 15 years and largely the same cast for the better part of 30 years on the Fox pregame show.
And that was their first year, too. 94 is their first year of doing football.
Terry would have started 10 years before that if they would have let him.
Terry did. Because I think he was a game analyst, if I'm not mistaken, on the NFC package CBS lost to Fox.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Dex, you're right about Terry. Terry's used to be funny. And because, I mean,
Terry's funny.
Well, and that show originally reset the pregame show entirely. Because before that, it was a half hour serious, we're going to do this and that. And then their jovial shtick actually worked for a long time. But it's been a long time. I would argue network NFL pregame shows, I don't even touch them now. If I'm going to dip in, ESPN, NFL Network.
Well, but it's more like just having something on in the lead up, right?
But I just don't,
I'm not sitting there, taking notes or
intently
anything.
listening, right, yeah.
I don't have any time for it.
I want the football vibe. I just like the football vibe in the morning.
Red Zone, listen to the countdown music, and then you hear Scotty Hansen, and that means it's Sunday.
I love it. Judd just sitting in front like the poltergeist staring at
5 minutes. 5 minutes, it just counts down the clock, and you get the football tunes playing. It's great.
He looks over to Don. It's like, it's here. He's just ready to go.
You're right.
I don't mean to encroach on Declan's turf here, but I kind of want to fire someone too.
Okay.
I kind of want to fire someone too.
Oh, I think I know.
It's college football related.
I think I know. Can I take a guess at where this person works?
Well, should I do it now, or should we talk some Gophers first, and then I do it after Gophers?
Okay. Let's talk some Gophers.
All right, you go ahead.
Executive decision.